We pray for blessing. my strength is lost, I'll praise you. Even when I have no song, I'll praise you. Even when it's hard to find the words, louder than I'll sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. Take this mountain weight, take these ocean seas, hold me through the trial, come like hope again. Even when the fight seems lost, I'll praise you. Even when it hurts like hell, I'll praise you. Even when it makes no sense to sing louder than I'll sing your praise. Oh, I will only sing your praise. Oh, I will only sing your praise. I will only sing your praise. And my heart burns only for you. You are all I want. And my soul waits only for you. And I will sing till the mountain has come. And my heart burns only for you. You are all I want. And my soul waits only for you. And I will sing till the morning has come. And my soul waits only for you. And I will sing till the morning has come. And my heart burns only for you. I will only sing your praise. Oh, I will only sing your praise. Oh, even when the morning comes, I'll praise you. Even when the fight is won, I'll praise you. Even when the morning comes, I'll praise you. Even when my time on earth is done, louder than I'll sing your praise. Oh, I will only sing your praise.
Claire Huntley, let's give her a big hand, folks. We are about to start the program. We've got a lot of people up here that we want to meet, hear from, and some we want to thank. We are very blessed today to have in our presence Bishop Rice. He is from the Diocese of Springfield at Cape Girardeau, and he will be, right? He will be celebrating Holy Mass at 1:30 at the St. Peter Church, which is right across the street. And Bishop Johnston of the Diocese of Kansas City will be celebrating along with him. Also, Father Anthony Viviano, a friend and favorite of this march, he is the pro-life moderator for Jefferson City, and he will celebrate as well. And then finally, thanks to the Midwest March, is the Holy Spirit. All of their volunteers are here today wearing volunteer t-shirts and lanyards. We hope that if you see them, you greet them, ask them questions. They are very, very helpful, and they will go out of their way to help your experience here be as excellent as possible. So, are we ready to start? Well then, if we could, I would like to ask His Excellency Bishop Rice, Bishop of Jefferson City and Cape Girardeau. I'm sorry, he's a bishop of Springfield and Cape Girardeau. Please welcome Bishop Rice.
Thank you, everyone. It's good to be here as we give witness to the sanctity of human life. I want to welcome Bishop Johnston, who is with us this morning as well. He's the guy in the straw hat. You don't wear a straw hat until after Memorial Day, okay? That's when I'll switch. Also, I give greetings to you from Archbishop Rosansky and Bishop McKnight, who could not be with us today, but thank you for being here to give the witness to the sanctity of human life. I'm going to ask a question. Have you ever visited the Missouri Senate chamber? Think about it. The first time I visited, I was shocked. There are 4 murals depicting the different periods of Missouri history with the figures of Daniel Boone, Thomas Jefferson, Lewis and Clark, the Civil War, and westward expansion. But the murals did not shock me. There's a beautiful stained glass window depicting the early explorers of this area looking for gold in the Ozarks. I don't think they found any, but that did not shock me. What did shock me was one of the quotes between the murals of the chamber, and I'm going to read the quote. As you face the front of the chambers and you look out to the left, etched on the wall is the phrase, "Nothing is politically right, which is morally wrong." Now, let me repeat that again. Nothing is politically right, which is morally wrong. That verse shocked me. Day after day, when the Senate is in session, our elected officials enter those chamber rooms with those words hanging above them as a reminder of the importance of what their work is all about. These words are credited to Daniel O'Connell, an Irish attorney who fought for the legal rights of Roman Catholics under English law, but also what significance those words hold for us today. Our elected officials, many of them who are here with us at this moment, thank you very much for giving of your time to be with us. They are responsible for upholding the morality of our state, reflecting in the laws that are passed, the desires of the people. And in this particular moment of our state history, I hope that every one of them, when they walk into the chamber room, reflect upon those powerful words, "Nothing is politically right, which is morally wrong." But it's not just a moral issue, is it? It's a human issue. How we treat the vulnerable, the helpless, the voiceless, the powerless, Our society will rise or fall on how we care for the least among us. Certainly, it is a moral issue, but it is also a human issue. And again, we entrust that work to our politicians. And so as we gather here today, let us remember the good work of those involved in the pro-life effort, the staff and the volunteers who walk with women in need through our pregnancy resource centers, Birthright, homes for unwed mothers throughout the state of Missouri. We remember those who promote healing for those who have suffered an abortion, for those who promote adoption, and for the many families who have opened their hearts and homes to children and youth in need of a stable and loving family. We pray for women whose lives have been wounded and devastated by abortion. We pray for our country, that we may repent of our blatant disregard for human life. We pray for the culture of life, that it may grow and increase and overwhelm the culture of death. Heavenly Father, we are your people. You give us hope in the victory of your Son. By his sacrifice, he has conquered the evil one, so we have hope, for Christ is within us, and this hope does not disappoint. Heavenly Father, bless the work of the pro-life movement in our state and throughout the country, so that in creating a culture of life, every child will be received as a gift, that we may promote the value and the sanctity of human life as a core belief of our culture. Let us reclaim our heritage, the fundamental belief that we are endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights, that among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I look forward to being with you to witness to life.
So His Excellency mentioned those legislators who are standing behind us and what we want to do right now. You know, they're out here standing on the steps for life, but in a few short moments they're going to go inside these halls and they're going to stand in their committees and in their halls for life. So let's give them our gratitude of thanks and encouragement. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Madeline Castle, who is the field representative for Senator Josh Hawley and Hunter Kelly, and she is going to come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mark. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now, speaking on behalf of U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, please join me in welcoming Hunter Kelly.
Thank you. You may be seated. It's an honor to be with you all today. I want to first thank you on behalf of Senator Josh Hawley. Senator Hawley and his wife Erin wish they could be here this morning. Senator Hawley is currently in Washington, D.C., in the United States Capitol building, working for the men and women of Missouri and of this country. If Senator Hawley was here today, I know that he'd first want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone for joining today. And thank you for joining this important movement. Thank you for your consistent efforts to protect the unborn. And thank you for marching for life. You all are the real heroes of today. I also want to thank again and acknowledge the many pro-life legislators that are here in the Missouri State Legislature. How great that in the Missouri Assembly we have so many pro-life legislators. Thank you for your service. Thank you. If we haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Hunter Kelly. I work for Senator Josh Hawley as his Deputy State Director. And there is one central message that Senator Hawley wanted me to share with you all today. Senator Hawley will always, always, always fight to protect the unborn in our country. A central part of that fight will be standing up to this administration and its Department of Justice. This Department of Justice has been weaponized like nothing we've seen before in the history of our country, and weaponized against anyone who disagrees with them. Let's recall together what this administration has done. This Department of Justice has targeted parents, calling them domestic terrorists, attempting to silence them and prevent them from speaking out at school board meetings. This Department of Justice has targeted people of faith, sending undercover agents into churches across this country to spy on Christians. And this Department of Justice has targeted pro-life demonstrators, mobilizing SWAT teams to their homes to arrest them in front of their families. At a minimum, Senator Hawley has said Attorney General Merrick Garland should resign or be impeached. FBI Director Christopher Wray should be removed from office, and the FBI overhauled top to bottom. Senator Hawley will not stand by while this administration attempts to get us to stand down and intimidate us. Senator Hawley will always stand strong against the intimidation tactics from this administration. To close, Senator Hawley will never stop fighting for life because he knows that America was founded on the premise that every person matters. Every person has value. Every person has dignity. We have dignity not because the government says so. It belongs to us because God gave it to us. Whoever you are a wanted, beloved child of God with inestimable value. So I want to thank you all on behalf of Senator Hawley for joining today. Thank you for your consistent efforts, your constant efforts to serve families and mothers and babies. And thank you for marching for life today. May God bless each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter. Now, we all need to sing, but we're going to be led once again by Claire Huntley. So she's going to lead us in America the Beautiful. Let's let all of Missouri hear us singing. Claire Huntley.
Hi guys, I'll actually be singing God Bless America, but if you guys want to sing, feel free to. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, Claire. Our next speaker is the president of the Vitae Foundation. Please welcome to the stage, Brandy Meeks.
Hello, everyone. I want to make sure that if you've seen in these signs around here, love people enough to tell them the truth, I'm going to cover a little bit this in my speech today. We have them over there at the Vitae Foundation tent for anybody who might want one. I also want to thank everyone for being here today on such a lovely day. If you've been here before, you know sometimes we have some tumultuous weather, so how wonderful it is as it's nice and sunny outside. I want to thank all of our legislators for being here with us today, too. Last year, I shared with you about the undercover work that my teenage daughter and I did at the South by Southwest Festival, and this year I want to share another story with you. You see, a few weeks ago I had the pleasure of speaking at the U.S. Supreme Court, and it was an incredible experience in Washington, D.C. with pro-life supporters in front of me, much like you are here today, being respectful and listening. And then to the right of us, we had pro-abortion supporters who were yelling and screaming the most profound chants things that caused us to question who we are and what we were even doing there. Not really. You know what they were yelling at me while I was sharing some of the most vulnerable moments of my life? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Like a bunch of children, truly. Friends, this is what we're up against. Now, admittedly, I was a little fiery after I got home from that speaking engagement. Having someone scream at you while you're trying to love people enough to tell them the truth. Anybody who has the signs out there, hold them up. Love people enough to tell them the truth. All right. So when my daughter and I ran into some pro-abortion petition signature gatherers outside our TJ Maxx here in Jefferson City a couple days later, it made for an interesting conversation, I'm sure you can imagine. In Missouri, as you know, there are signature gatherers out for several different ballot issues that you might have heard of. They were coming out for things like gaming and another one for minimum wage. So for months now, those signature gatherers have been out in front of several of my most frequented retail spots. And while we were walking towards the store, we were approached by two signature gatherers, as we had been many times before. And as we all do, I know we're all guilty of it, my daughter and I tried not to make eye contact as we scooted past the parked cars and towards the building. And one of the men said, "Would you like to sign the petition, ma'am? Are you a registered voter in the state of Missouri?" And I said, "No, thank you," tried to dismiss him, thought it was over. And then as we walked away, my back was to him, he said, "It's about protecting women's rights." I spun around. My eyes got pretty wide. This is the first time I had been approached about this issue, so I was kind of excited. He looked at me, he said, "That'll get you to turn around, won't it?" I said, "Oh, yes, yes, it will." I said, actually, what was really funny is my daughter knew that I was going in for battle. She knew I had just gotten back from the Supreme Court. She knew how I was feeling. And so she has a really firm grip. She's a state qualifier wrestler, right? So she's trying to hold on to me. And as I approached him, I had so many things going through my head, I will tell you. Over a dozen Vitae Foundation research studies and their findings, all of my trainings from Missouri Right to Life, and then I felt a peace wash over me. I needed to take a deep breath and focus on what I knew worked. And I asked him, I said, "Can you tell me a little bit more about the petition?" I wanted to see how he would present it to me. I didn't want to show all my cards in that moment. And he proceeded to tell me about how this will give women their rights back. It would end the abortion ban in Missouri. It would make sure that women had miscarriage care. I asked him if he had read the petition himself. He had not. So I said, "So you want me to sign something that you've never read?" Okay. At this point, the vocal man who was interacting with me leans in and trying to get me to shut down says, "Ma'am, I don't want you to share your opinion because you can stop now." Okay, so odd. I thought we cared about women, right? I thought I happened to be a woman, a strong woman who has a strong opinion with thoughts and, beliefs. I didn't realize that that was frowned upon. Now, I didn't tell him any of this, but this is all going through my head. But I guess that's only okay if you agree with abortion supporters. So I calmly went on to share that I live this day in and day out in my job. And I told him, I said, "I believe this is a human rights issue because no one deserves to have more or less value placed on their lives because of their size, their location, or their ethnicity." I told them that we gave people fractions of rights and humanity and personhood in the past, and historically, that didn't work out really well for us because it was wrong then and it's wrong now. At the moment of conception, a flash of light occurs and a unique set of DNA is formed. If it's not a human being, then what is it? And they stood there. And through this interaction, the second man that was with him had not said a word, but I could tell by the look on his face that he was thinking about it. Now, this is an example of how Vitae's research and messaging challenges the culture. Now, Vitae's research didn't discover those facts that I shared just a minute ago in that interaction, and didn't discover the pro-life apologetics that I shared. But we have discovered that we need to love people enough to tell them the truth. Thank you, absolutely. Our non-confrontational approach causes people to question what they've been told, do their own research, and then make a decision after they've been given time to think about it. And while I was doing a radio interview about this encounter last week in St. Louis, I had a radio host tell me that he was so thankful that as a woman that I was taking a stand on this issue, because he said so many women tend to lay back and be a little bit more quiet about it, and because they don't want to rock the boat. I leaned in that moment and I said, sir, well, I'm a strong woman and I am here to rock the boat. Do I have any other women out here that are here to rock the boat with me? And men, we need you too. You are naturally our protectors, and we need you to take a stand and don't let anyone tell you that you don't have a right to say anything, because you have every right to say things. And let us all remember that even if it means rocking the cultural boat, we have to love people enough to tell them the truth, to protect every human life. I ask that you go to vitaefoundation.org to find out more ways you can do that with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. You know, I spent my life in sales, and I would tell you that I've never made a sale when I denounced my opponent. Always, it just inflicts emotion. But I always made a sale when I was able to make the person I was speaking to think. And I think that's what Brandy has suggested, is that in our arguments, in our discussions, ask questions, make statements that are factual, that make a person think. Because unlike what we want to believe, what sometimes popular belief is, people don't think anymore, people do think. We just have to help them sometimes, and we have to help them think about things that matter, like life. Our next speaker is the Executive Director of Missouri Right to Life. Please welcome back Susan Klein.
Hi, pro-life Missourians. You all are great. I mean, we have fought this battle for over 50 years with Roe, and just about a year and a half ago, year and 2 months specifically, the battle came to Missouri, and we have had quite an issue with the initiative petition, and everybody out there across the state. It has just been amazing how many people have stepped up to the plate and worked so hard to get out the truth about this pro-abortion initiative petition. But I can tell you one thing, no matter what happens in the days ahead, pro-life Missourians are going to continue to stand strong and to fight and get the truth out there and help protect babies in the state of Missouri. So I want to share a few things regarding legislative session. You'll hear more from us if you go to our website. The deadline for them turning in initiative petition signatures is Sunday, May the 5th. We believe that they'll turn them in before that, possibly on Saturday. And then the analysis begins on verification of all of those signatures. Missouri Right to Life is going to be looking at those signatures as well. We've got teams in St. Louis, teams in Central Missouri, and we've got the voter registration list, and we are going to do a sunshine on the initiative petitions that were turned in. There were many, many, many people that scratched their names off once they learned the truth about the petition. And we're very thankful for them. But we want to make sure that those signature gatherers did not write those names back in. We've seen in other states where they have committed fraud and written people's names in. So I know that our Secretary of State is going to be working hard to verify those signatures. We know that the governor will look at which election, which of these petitions are going to be put on which ballot. And we're working on initiative petition reform. Initiative petition reform right now, our Freedom Caucus is fighting on the Senate floor to try to get a better way for us to protect our Missouri Constitution. And we want concurrent majority. We don't want outside money coming in and changing our Constitution and enshrining abortion in our Constitution. We are going to fight that with everything that we have. So whatever happens in the days ahead, be encouraged. We have fought the fight. We are fighting hard. We're going to continue to fight. And why are we fighting? We forget sometimes because we're encountering people or we're just out, doing our work, day-to-day work and pro-life work, and sometimes it gets, like, oh, I've got to do this with my kids or my family. But why are we fighting? Pull up an ultrasound. Listen to that baby's heartbeat. Look at those moms that are being deceived by the abortion industry. And then get back on the track and make sure that we get the truth out there. The churches are stepping up to the plate. Pro-life organizations across this state are unified, and we are standing strong together to fight this initiative petition. But what's happening on the Senate floor? Our Freedom Caucus is fighting for two things. They're holding up a couple of money bills, the appropriations and what is called the FRA, Federal Reimbursement Allowance. We can do all of this. But we also want to make sure that we get SJR 74 and initiative petition reform passed. What does that mean? That means in order to pass a constitutional amendment, you have to have more than just 50 plus 1 Missourians. And a lot of times they get that just in Kansas City and St. Louis. And all of us in central Missouri or across rural Missouri America don't get our voices heard. We're trying to change that. We're trying to make sure that every voice and every vote matters. So in order to change the Constitution, we want to make sure that they get not just 50 plus 1, but there's also a requirement of majority of 5 of the 8 congressional districts. And that will be a true representation of all of us, all Missourians across the state of Missouri. So on our Missouri Right to Life table, I have a couple of action steps. Once you finish the march today, if you want to do some actions, we need the governor to sign the defund Planned Parenthood bill and finally stop our tax dollars from going to support these abortion facilities. It is sitting on his desk. It's been on his desk for 7 days. And he has until May the 10th to sign that bill. But we need that bill signed. We need to send a message to these pro-abortion signature gatherers that have been out, telling lies to people across the state of Missouri. So we want to send that message and defund Planned Parenthood. And then the other bill that we want to do is obviously make sure that the Senate, we are one vote away from, in the Senate, from being able to protect our Missouri Constitution by passing the Joint Resolution 74. And we need every Republican senator to step up and help us get that passed. The 9 pro-abortion Democrats have said they will filibuster it if they get the chance. We need it passed before they go to the FRA and before they go to the budget bills. So we encourage you to pick these papers up on our table over there, and that'll show you the action steps of what you can do after you march through the city of Jefferson City. Welcome to our capital city. We have a beautiful capital city, and pro-life people have really stepped up to make and help us keep Missouri pro-life. So go to our website also, MissouriLife.org. We also have a legal analysis that is going to be put out there of information and education that you're going to need in the days ahead to fight and make sure that people get the truth. Thank you very much for your support of Missouri Right to Life.
Thank you, Susan. Before we get to our next speaker, I want to ask a question. How are the speakers so far? Would you like to know more about them and the other speakers who will speak today? If so, go to the Midwest March for Life website where you can find complete bios on everyone who is speaking here today. Our next speaker is the CEO and vision leader of Thrive Nation. You know her. Please welcome Bridget VanMeans.
Good morning. You guys are way too quiet. This is Missouri, the first abortion-free state in the nation. Yeah! Raise your hand if you were here in October of 2019. Were you in Missouri? Yeah! October 21st, 2019 was the first day that we put our foot on home base and woke up that morning with not one abortion clinic operating, all because of you. We didn't wait for the Supreme Court to tell us what was right. We told the Supreme Court what was right, because we're Missouri. And now we have a new battle. Our opponents who support murder want to turn back 50 years of work in one afternoon through these ballot initiatives. Now, they've been successful 7 out of 7 times. Guess what, guys? It's going to take a miracle. But guess what, guys? We are the Missouri Miracle. We will be the first state to turn back the ballot initiatives. I have my friend Levi with me. Give a hand to Levi. He's awesome. Father of 4. And he's held on to his figure. Look at that. He has a scripture he wants to read to you.
This is Luke 15, starting at verse 8. Or what woman, having 10 silver coins, if she loses 1 coin, does not light a lamp and sweep the house and seek diligently until she finds it? And when she has found it, she calls together her friends and neighbors, saying, Rejoice with me, for I have found the coin that I had lost. Just so I tell you, there is joy before the angels of God over one sinner who repents.
Amen. So I'm going to ask Jesus to give me permission to frame that silver coin a little differently. Today, I'm going to frame that silver coin as your vote. If you are under 25 years old, please raise your hand. If you are planning to vote in November, raise your hand. Because here's the rub, guys. It is pro-life voters who kept us from winning in those 7 states. And that is shocking, but the data showed that. The data showed that we didn't turn out, and then we broke. So what I am asking each of you to do is consider your vote this year as that silver coin. I am using this time to go after that silver coin. What we're finding is that young people understand that there are many important issues, and there are many important issues. But as long as abortion is allowed in our nation, there is no other more important issue than abortion. And I am asking you as your sisters in this cause to no longer allow the gap between your values and your voting behavior. What I am saying to you is that to honor life is to honor God. I say it again. To honor life is to honor God. These children bear God's image. In fact, he goes as far as to say, they are me. Now, if we were in our Wayback Machine and we went back to, say, 1860 and 1870, and maybe we grew up on the same plantation, but I'm half black, so I'd be a slave. And maybe we grew up and we were allowed to play together, because that happened. Slave owners would let the children play together. And suddenly this man comes out of nowhere, and his name is Lincoln. And he has an R next to his name, not a D. He has an R next to his name. And if we're sitting and we're playing, and I start hearing about this man who will set me free and set my daughter free, and you say you love me, what is more important than getting the man with the R in office? The woman with the R in office. I am asking you this year to sacrifice some of those other issues, at least just this year, because I believe that the nation cannot afford to lose another election to abortion, to death. I am asking you as your sister, take that silver coin and put the R's in office. Because if you can't trust a man or a woman with the unborn, you can't trust them with education or your money. In the Old Testament, the only time that God's people would lose a battle is when they had snuck an idol into the camp. This is it. I'm going out on a limb. The D is an idol in our camp, and it does not belong there. We must evict and renounce the idols. And I will close with this. Young people under 30, raise your hands. You've been placed in the timeline for this moment. The elders, I'm 31 or 32, I don't know. The elders are the iron pillars, and we stand for what is right. But it's the young people that get that sweat equity in and turn the table. We need you to turn the table. We've stood long enough. We need you to turn the table, to take that silver coin and lay it down and say, there is nothing more important. Nothing more important than life. Everything builds from that. Now we have, someone just said, say it one more time, nothing is more important. And I'll close with this. Raise your hand if you love Jesus. Raise your hand if your mama loved Jesus. Raise your hand if your grandmother loved Jesus. Raise your hand if you know for a fact your great-grandmother loved Jesus. Woo! Imagine this. Every single person that ever loved Jesus or ever will love Jesus loves him and knows him because of 13 men. 13 men are responsible for every person who ever loved Jesus. What I say is we have a much bigger crowd than 13 in this room. You are here to change the world. You are here to preserve our nation from the ungodly spirit of Molech, who murders our children and is racist and evil. Planned Parenthood is an evil organization. You're here to change the world. You've already changed Missouri. Hold the line. Don't let them turn our victory back. Hold the line. Love you.
Wow. So Bridget talked about young people in her talk. Take a look around and notice how many young people there are here today. If you want to know if our future is bright, it's standing amongst us, and it is a very bright future. And to continue the theme of young people, our next speaker, when I was given my notes, I was told that our next speaker is billed as an up-and-coming millennial Catholic speaker. Well, folks, if you do what I suggested earlier and go to the Midwest March for Life website and look up the biography of our speakers, when you read about this next speaker, you will realize quickly she has officially arrived. She's no longer up and coming. Please welcome Megan Mastro.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ask you to imagine that there existed a movement made up of people who more than half the country deems as irrational, hypocritical, and insensitive, who willfully neglect women's health care and who ruthlessly plot to force women into giving birth, who are rumored to attend their marches holding passive-aggressive signs that claim to support women, yet simultaneously referring to them as baby murderers. And they do it all with gloating smiles on their faces. This is how the pro-choice movement portrays pro-life. Many of you are already aware of this, but I hope you would take a moment to really ponder what I'm saying. The pro-choice movement has successfully tricked and brainwashed more than half our country into believing the lie that their side is the one with compassion for women and their children. 14 years ago, I was fooled by this narrative. And now more than ever, our young people are at risk at falling into the same deception. Again, my name is Megan Mastro. I am a daughter of God and a mother who lost her child to the abortion industry. 3 years ago, I considered myself anti-Catholic and fiercely pro-choice. I grew up as a lukewarm Christian, and after checking off all my sacraments, I felt as if I had graduated church. 1 year later, I became pregnant at 16, which I viewed as a time-sensitive problem that needed to be resolved. On the day that the life of my child was terminated, the abortion provider I went to had warned me ahead of time not to look over in the direction of the Sidewalk advocates. They recommended that I disregard all erratic pro-life people. The facility was either knowingly or unknowingly igniting a fear regarding how pro-life people would treat women like me, or worse, what they would call me, a baby murderer. The infamous slur, which only shuts down dialogue and instigates mutual animosity. Years following the abortion, I was convinced that pro-life people were women-hating Jesus freaks, obsessed with punishing women. So as a response to their perceived hatred towards me, I began to advocate for abortion. In college, I observed that mainstream female empowerment celebrates a woman's right to choose the fate of another. So with the intent of helping others, I often expressed my gratitude for the abortion and my lack of regret. But the hidden truth, unbeknownst to me, was that my body was in a state of perpetual grief due to the unnatural loss of my son. My interior life was chaotic. I felt angry, confused, distraught. For years, I tried to calm the storm using crystals, drugs, and tarot cards, which only accelerated my decline to rock bottom. And it was only in Christ, the divine physician, where I stumbled onto the path of true healing. If you would have asked me just 3 years ago what I knew about the pro-life movement, I would have told you that they were void of compassion, spiteful, and unforgiving towards those who've experienced abortion, and that they were skilled masters at dodging the concerns about women's health and well-being. Today, I can tell you that I regret blindly believing what I was told about pro-life people without ever glancing in their direction, because it was these beliefs that hardened my heart towards the church and kept me from the healing sacrament of confession. But finally, 12 years after rebelling as his prodigal daughter, I returned home to my father's house to confess my wretchedness. And to my surprise, but probably of no shock to you, I was met with an outpouring of his divine mercy. After having reconciled with the Catholic Church, I attended a Catholic healing retreat called Rachel's Vineyard. And it was there where everything finally clicked. And I was given the grace to understand the truth, that abortion is an attack on the family unit, on women, and femininity itself. And that even though I was a perpetrator, I learned that I, too, the post-abortive mother, was a victim of abortion. Instantly, I felt absolute betrayal, sorrow, and panic upon realizing that my son had been taken from me because I believed the lie that abortion was a quick solution, when in fact it was quite the contrary. Suddenly, I was overwhelmed with the jarring understanding that the abortion industry is responsible for the mass deception of the American people at the expense of women. And I left that retreat equipped with a new mission: to fight for the dignity of mothers, the lives of their children, and for the minds of all the misled pro-choice people. This year, I started volunteering with an organization that provides me an opportunity to peacefully dialogue with pro-choice college students about abortion, which has not only been a privilege, but a healing experience. And because of the mercy that I've received from the Heavenly Father, I get to offer that same mercy to pro-choice advocates, people who I once regarded as lost and hopeless when I returned. I get to inspire these students to dream of a society that supports and reveres pregnant women. I get to go out and listen to them, to learn about their concerns, to respond with love, and shatter their false perceptions of pro-life people. I get to challenge the narrative that says that pregnancy is a time-sensitive solution or a time-sensitive problem to be resolved. And I reintroduce it as a profoundly beautiful gift, even when the timing isn't convenient. And most importantly, I get to leave them with my favorite one-liner, rooted in reality and compassion. It's not a personal choice, it's a person. Glory to Jesus Christ, for his mercy and his justice endure forever. Thank you.
Megan, on behalf of Christians here today and throughout the world and all the saints in heaven, welcome home. Our next speaker is the brand ambassador for Support After Abortion. Would you please join me in welcoming Ivy Almon?
Hello, and thank you. 1 in 4 women will experience abortion by the age of 45. With 50% of those abortions being a repeat abortion. Think of all of us gathered here. Today, estimating, more than 2,000, but for easy numbers, 500 will have experienced abortion. The statistics are staggering. We at Support After Abortion are dedicated to healing people who have been impacted by abortion. We do this in 2 ways. We connect people who struggle after abortions to the type of healing they desire. And we equip healing providers by active leadership in creating, aggregating, and elevating abortion healing resources. So I challenge you, each of you, to reflect on how different our world would look if we stepped into the gap and became a catalyst for change by helping them find hope and healing through 4 easy steps. 1, examine your judgment. What judgments or stereotypes do you carry about abortion and men and women who have been impacted by it? These create a wall that people feel uncomfortable or unsafe sharing with you. 2, walk with compassion, talk about abortion without judgment or condemnation, saying, I'm so sorry for your loss. You're not alone. Or many men and women have similar experiences. 3, ask if they would like to share their experience. When you are in a safe place, for them, you can ask, is there anything you would like to share with me about your experience, and listen to how they respond, and respond back with compassion. 4, connect them to support. You can say it's not uncommon for people to want to share their experience or talk to people who have experienced this. Would you like me to connect you to a healing resource? Then connect them with whatever they're looking for. We at Support After Abortion will take emails, texts, phone calls, live chats with our trained after abortion line support team. We will then navigate the healing options that they are looking for or desire. So again, where do we stand as a community? There are hurting people all around us. And we need to just slow down and notice them and offer them a safe place. Let us not stand idly, but rather let us step into the gap and become a catalyst for change in the lives of those who have been impacted by abortion. Together, we can create a compassionate and supportive community where individuals feel valued, heard, and supported on their journey towards healing. I urge you to connect with us at Support After Abortion and explore all of the different resources we do have available. Together we can make a difference and offer hope and healing to those in need. Thank you.
I'm always struck when a speaker asks the audience to get involved, to connect. When the speech is done and everyone goes back and gets in their car, that's when it's up to you to get involved and connect. She's done her job. Now we have to be the ones who do this in deed, not just in word. I want to tell you about our next speaker, Gabriel Cobb. Gabriel is quite an amazing man. He has completed 13 triathlons with no modifications. Pushing boundaries and exceeding expectations for people with disabilities, among other accomplishments. He is also a Taekwondo green belt, a pianist, a chef, and a funkle, which is a fun uncle. He loves assisting the world and appreciating the gift of those with a little something extra. Gabriel spoke before the United Nations in New York City in 2023, and he is here today to speak with us in Missouri. Please welcome Gabriel Cobb. You got this, man.
Hi, I am Gabriel. I am 23 years old and live in St. Charles, Missouri. And I have Down syndrome. I would like to sing a bit of my favorite song for you. Sing along if you want. Look out, 'cause here I come. and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. I love the song from the Greatest Sermon. This message, I love the song from the Greatest Sermon. The message it says is that the outward appearance of people does not define who they are or what they can become. Sometimes people are uncomfortable when they see me because they only see Down syndrome. Well, I'm not scared to be seen, and I make no apologies. This is me. You may have noticed it's more difficult to understand me due to my Down syndrome accent. My low tone in my tongue makes speech really hard, but since my name Gabriel means God's messenger, I guess I'm supposed to be a public speaker anyway. Challenges? Yes. Limitations? No. I have been given a team in life who challenge me and cheer me on. I am blessed with a great family. I have 2 big sisters and brothers-in-law who made me a fun call. And 2 loving parents who have always kept the bar high. My papa and I love doing projects together. I love using power tools and enjoy mowing the grass. But my favorite never-ending chore is folding clothes. My mom and I love reading novels and playing piano duets. I even played for my sister's wedding. My biggest accomplishment is that I have completed 13 half-Olympic triathlons, which include a half-mile swim, 12.4-mile bike, and a 5K run. With no modifications. Swim, bike, run, all in one race, all by myself. To work with my low tone, I have a training coach who teaches me how to use weights to strengthen my body. She has also helped me to get my green belt in Taekwondo. Watch out, purple belt, here I come. I enjoy Special Olympics basketball. We played in the state tournament last season. I even made a three-pointer in the correct basket. I have a cooking coach who makes me cry only with chopping onions. I love to travel. I even went to New York City to speak at the United Nations. My speech was webcast live throughout the entire world. Have also spoken in Texas, Connecticut, South Dakota, Louisiana, and throughout Missouri. My faith is the most important part of my life. I like to attend Mass daily and proclaim loudly. After all, I am Gabriel, God's messenger. I am so thankful for my coaches, family, and friends who encourage me to be me and pursue a million dreams. I dream of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams of the world we are gonna make.
Gabriel. Wow, Gabriel, you have got a lot of skills, and I don't even know where to begin. That's amazing. Thank you for being here with us today. Our next speaker is the National Field Director for Students for Life of America. She's also the mother of my goddaughter, so please welcome Reagan Barklage.
I got my fan club over there. Woo! Oh, thank you. Oh, well, Missouri, it's such a privilege to be here today with all of you as we celebrate another year of protecting life in our beautiful state. Being a resident of the first state to make abortion illegal is something I continue to brag about and am truly honored to be a part of. Missouri is one of the strongest pro-life states in our country, and yet there are people actively trying to reverse all of the hard work pro-life warriors have fought for years. Heck no in Mo! We will not fall for abortion extremism with this ballot initiative, no matter how much out-of-state money the other side brings in. The abortion lobby has 4 days left to get the number of signatures they need to put abortion on the ballot. And there are rumors that they have met their goal, but until the Secretary of State qualifies them, nothing is official. You better believe they're going to be incredibly aggressive, doing everything they can to surpass their goal. And if it does get on the ballot, they're going to do everything they can to ensure it passes. So we absolutely have to match their drive and determination. Our calendar for the next 4 days, or potentially 5 months, should be packed with exhausting every single counter strategy we have in our playbook. I know there are many speakers that are providing speakers and ideas today, so I'm going to give you my top 4. 1, spend time. Lots of time with the petitioners over the next few days. If you encounter them at a store or even at your door, ask them lots of questions. Because the more time you spend with them, the less time they're going to be getting signatures. I know our first reaction is to get frustrated and walk away, but resist the urge. Second, get the word out about the extremism of this abortion petition. That means at your church, putting things in the bulletin, announcements or flyers. If the church responds, there is no way this petition stands a chance. Share on social media the dangers of this petition. So many people are not aware of what this petition actually entails, and it's on us to spread the truth. And go to door yourself. So many organizations here today, including Students for Life, have resources you can use at the door. We know the petitioners have been going door to door each weekend, so we also have to go to the doors and encourage folks to decline to sign. And we need to continue to talk about it because not only is that going to prevent any backup signatures from being collected, but it'll also raise awareness in the case we do have to vote on it. And then finally, encourage your friends and families to withdraw their signature, because if they were pressured to sign the petition or didn't fully understand, they can withdraw their signature, and they can do so by going to withdrawsignature.website, and they have to do this by May 5th. So encourage your friends and family to do that as well. And then finally, for real this time, pray. Pray every single day that they do not have enough signatures. And I've been challenging folks to pray every time they brush their teeth. So hopefully that's at least twice a day for a couple minutes. Pray that life wins again here in Missouri. So spend time with the petitioners, get the word out, withdraw signatures, and pray. Now, Students for Life has been responding to these efforts in both the community and on campus. We've been able to identify the main campuses the petition gatherers are visiting to collect signatures, and we're directly countering their efforts through our own tabling, flyering, and going door to door. In fact, over the last 2 weeks, we went to over 5,000 doors in Columbia and St. Charles, Missouri. It has been incredibly frustrating to see the deceit from the other side as they attempt to get the signatures they need. We've caught them lying about what the petition is about, some even saying it's a pro-life petition. And unfortunately, some people have fallen for it because they didn't read the petition. But guess what? If people rise up and speak the truth, then truth will prevail. Remember, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph in this world is that good men and women do nothing. Out of all the states that have efforts to put abortion on the ballot, Missouri is one of the strongest states poised to block the abortion lobby's attempts. But that requires us to be assertive and bold and always on our feet being strategic. There are only 4 days left to keep abortion extremism off the ballot. The abortion lobby is antsy and determined. Let our determination for life win. We are the pro-life generation, and together we will keep Missouri abortion-free.
Are you ready to be assertive and bold? Yeah. Yes! That's what it takes, folks. Assertive and bold. Not just here on the lawn, but in your homes, in your backyards, in your churches, in your neighborhoods. Assertive and bold. Our next speaker is the spokeswoman of Missouri Stands With Women. In addition, she hosts a daily radio program, is a partner in a law firm, and is also the mayor pro tem of Ashland, Missouri. A very busy woman. Please welcome Stephanie Bell.
I stand before you today on behalf of Missouri Stands With Women to simply say thank you. I want to thank you for all of your hard work on the decline to sign efforts thus far. Nationally and here in this state, Actually, in this building right behind me, there is so much unnecessary division. But I've been encouraged and I'm energized by so many people coming together with the singular purpose of defeating this radical initiative. These radicals want to use the initiative petition process to reverse all of the hard work that we've done in the pro-life space and that our state has undertaken to protect the dignity of life, the safety of women, and parental rights. In this last week, as you just heard from Reagan, we must continue to urge our friends and our neighbors and our coworkers and our family to decline to sign. Let's be very clear about what these extremists want. They want abortion on demand. They want it up until the moment of birth of the baby, and they want it paid for by your tax dollars. Boo is right. They have poured millions of dollars into our state to put these extreme pro-abortion provisions into our state's constitution, and this week they say they are concluding their signature gathering efforts. What we know is they will say anything to get people to sign, and you've heard it here this morning, and we have countless examples of people with clipboards flat out lying to Missouri voters. If you know someone who was misled into signing the initiative, who regrets signing, or who mistakenly signed, it's important this week to let them know that they can legally withdraw their signature from the petition. Again, you can go to withdrawsignature.website, or you can also visit our website, mostandswithwomen.org. The signature withdrawal forms must be turned in before they turn in their petition, which they have told us will be Friday. So help us spread the message about signature withdrawal, please. After the rally, I will be available. I've got flyers if you want to stop by and see me and hand them out. Please do so. Again, thank you for standing with women, for the born and for the unborn, for adult women, for minor girls. We stand with you and we stand ready to defeat these out-of-state extremists. Thank you.
Folks, let's make sure that Stephanie gives away every single one of the flyers she brought with her, just like all of the vendors who are here today. Make sure you stop by and get the information that they're providing, which is so important and so vital, it can't be overstated. Day in and day out, standing on the sidewalk and the front lines defending life is Sidewalk Advocates for Life. Please welcome their Vice President, Nate Robertson.
Well, good morning, Missouri. I bring you greetings from Florida, and it's a beautiful day here in Missouri. Thank you so much for being here today. It is incredible to look out and see the incredible crowd that we have here today as you take a stand for life and to celebrate life at every stage, at every age. My name is Nate Robertson, and I serve as the Vice President of Sidewalk Advocates for Life, the nation's largest pro-life sidewalk outreach organization, where we train, equip, and support those who have a heart to go to the darkest place in their community, the local abortion or abortion referral facility, and offer women in crisis loving, life-affirming alternatives. Just last month, we celebrated our 10th anniversary, and what a beautiful landmark it has been. In our 10 years, we have established more than 280 teams in locations across America, and we have witnessed more than 22,000 mothers and babies saved from abortion. This is all because of people just like you who have said yes to God and yes to this great mission of helping save lives and end abortion in their communities. Let me share with you one of those sidewalk stories. I met Amber and Charles, her boyfriend, on the sidewalk of an abortion facility on the first Saturday of December in 2016. With two girls at home, Amber did not feel like she could have another baby. Myself, Lauren Muzica, our CEO, president, and founder, and another team member of ours reached out to them to provide information and hope as they considered a life or death decision. After going in and out of the facility 2 times, Amber and Charles had gone in considering this decision. We stopped to pray And at the moment that I said amen, I looked up and I saw them coming out of the facility for the third time. And this time, they were ready to go to the Pregnancy Resource Center right next door. That's right. Amber had previously said to Lauren that she always wanted a son. And Lauren said to her, "What if this is your son?" As we walked next door, Charles thanked me for being there to offer them help and hope that day. And guess what? The baby was a boy, and they named him Cameron. And he's about to turn 7 in just a few weeks. Amber's heart and mind was changed that day because of the power of the Holy Spirit that was at work on the sidewalk and honestly at work inside of the abortion facility too. She made a decision for life because of you and because of people like you whose hearts have been moved to compassionate action on the issue of life. It is because of you that life continues to win in Missouri. And as we celebrate here today, I want to thank you for helping to overturn Roe v. Wade. Law follows culture, and culture is in the hearts of the people. As you have chosen to stand up, show up, pray, advocate, and educate, you have helped to transform our culture. You made a Supreme Court decision like this possible. You were the yes to God that ushered in this miracle that many people were afraid would never happen. That being said, we cannot lose sight of the fact that we still have work to do. We've got dangerous, unregulated, mail-order drugs being shipped to women for DIY abortions. We've got a federal administration that wants to turn your corner pharmacies into abortion pill dispensaries. We've got a predatory abortion industry flooding into cities at the border in pro-abortion states, turning many salt-of-the-earth communities into abortion destination or abortion tourist areas. We've got about 20 states that offer at least some protection for innocent human life, and that is something to celebrate. But that means we have 30 states to go. Overturning Roe was a gift to us, and what happens next, what each of us decide to do going forward, is our gift back to God. Friends, mothers in crisis need you. Preborn children need you. Broken and hurting families need you. I encourage you to rise up and respond to the call that God has placed in front of you to be salt and light to a world in need. And as you do, as we all continue to say yes, we will see a post-Roe America gradually become an abortion-free America. Thank you for joining in this celebration for life today. Thank you for all that you do to continue to serve women and to save lives. May God continue to bless you and bless this great state of Missouri. Thank you.
Don't you wish the speakers had some energy? Our next speaker and keynote speaker of the day. I first heard her speak here at the march in 2016, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It stuck with me, her story, her message, and I have no doubt that the same will happen today. Melissa Odhen is the CEO of the Abortion Survivors Network. Please welcome her warmly into our great state.
Thank you so much. Good morning. It's like the weather knew we were going to be here today, right? My goodness, what an amazing day. Let's give everybody a round of applause who has helped make today happen. Kathy in particular, thank you. All of the team, 40 Days for Life, the Midwest March for Life. There are so many people here who quietly go about making days like this happen for months in advance. And so just know that we appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm standing here today as someone who appreciates each and every one of you that are here. I have so many things that I want to share with you today, but I'm going to keep my remarks as short as I can. That's really the hardest thing about being the keynote. I'm sitting there scratching out my notes and going, well, Nate took that line, and let's see, Bridget covered that, and Brandy started with that line, so what am I going to talk about when I get up there? I still have a lot to say. My daughter's up here quietly smiling, right? Ava, you want to wave your hand? This is Ava, everybody. And Ava's standing here as someone today who never would have lived if her grandmother's abortion with me wouldn't have failed. That's what I want people to think about in all the conversations that we're having. What does it mean when people want to enshrine abortion rights? It means that I would not be standing here today. It means that my Ava and my Olivia never would have been born. And so, Brandy, as we talk about loving people enough to tell them the truth, for me, that's the very basis of it all. I love people enough to live the truth, which is that abortion is the taking of an innocent human life. And it wounds countless others, as you shared so beautifully with us today, Megan, as well. And we don't have to be afraid of that truth. This is the reality. And here's the other reality, folks. I'm not the biggest threat to the abortion industry. Sometimes people like to say that to me, and I kind of laugh about it because I'm a reformed people pleaser. I don't know about you. When you talk about rocking the boat, I used to think, could I just sit in the boat quietly and not even tell anybody that there is a boat? But yet God really takes all of our lives and gives us these gifts and talents. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not the biggest threat. You know who is? Each and every one of you. You are the biggest threat to the abortion industry, and that's why they've arrived on our steps once again. And yeah, you can give yourself a round of applause. You should. They want our victory, our leadership for life to ultimately become a defeat, and they want to teach us and the rest of the nation a lesson. But are they going to? No. The lesson that we are teaching the rest of the world is that together we are stronger. That we will not be defeated by the lies and deception of the abortion industry. And for me, this is what today is all about, is coming together to not only speak truth, but to be here together and be connecting with one another. Be encouraged to look upon who is here today and recognize that here in Missouri, we are blessed with some of the most sacrificial, impactful leaders, organizations, and yes, ordinary people, just like you, and yes, just like me. I am ordinary, trust you. I think Ava would tell you I'm the most ordinary mom she could ever have. And I love that. Ordinary people, by the grace of God, are called to do extraordinary things every single day. And that's why we're in the position that we are, to be leaders for life. Because ordinary people just like you, and yes, you, have gotten us to this place in time where life is protected and respected. Women are served. Families are supported. And that is the biggest threat to the abortion industry. And doesn't that tell us everything we need to know about them and what they desire? We know the truth. Many of you know my story, but I'm going to share a little snapshot of it with you, in addition to a little bit of an update about what I see in abortion survivors, even here in Missouri. Because as we speak the truth, and we share that with other people, and we engage in these important conversations right now, I want you to have stories at your fingertips. Because stories put skin on the issue of abortion in a way that it's hard for people to do sometimes. My reality is that you have a birthday, and I now celebrate as my birthday the day that I was accidentally born alive. I have asked members of Congress to reconcile time and time again how somehow as an adult woman in our country, I have the supposed right to an abortion. But if I had never been born in the first place, I never would have been able to have a single right to exercise. Do you think they've ever been able to answer that question for me? No, of course they haven't. But I can tell you I've had some very interesting exchanges with members of Congress who know the truth, and they wrestle with it when they're faced with someone like me. My story started not terribly far from here. My family and I live in Kansas City now. We've been here for about 11 years. We love Missouri, don't we, Ava? We sure do. But I come from Iowa. And really, the hardest part of my experience is knowing my birth mother's story. My birth mother, Ruth, also lives in Missouri. I love this about her life and mine. We are part of the Missouri miracle time and time again, right? We have so many miracles here in Missouri. But Ruth's experience is one that the abortion industry doesn't work to support, but one that they seek to exploit. Ava, can you bring me that water? Go figure, I go voiceless right now. How's that for a little spiritual warfare? Ruth's experience is one that far too many women experience still today. My birth mother was 19 years old. She was a college student, and unfortunately, she was forced by people who should have loved her unconditionally to have the saline infusion abortion that was intended to take my life and forever changed hers. That saline infusion abortion involved injecting a toxic salt solution into the amniotic fluid surrounding me in the womb. But of course, they didn't tell her about me. They didn't ask her if that abortion was her choice. They didn't talk to her about the impact of that abortion on her physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Over a 5-day period, my birth mother, Ruth, was subjected to this horrific abortion procedure while I soaked in that toxic salt solution. Over those 5 days, which was far longer than what it was intended to take place for, I just would not budge every time they attempted to induce her labor. But during those 5 days, not only did they believe the abortion would succeed in taking my life, but they started to worry about whether it would actually take hers as well. These are all inconvenient truths when it comes to abortion that you need to continue to highlight. Because if it's not us speaking the truth to the world, then who is going to do it? And I am so grateful that no matter the intent of that abortion, after soaking in that solution for 5 days, when Ruth's labor was finally induced at St. Luke's Hospital in Sioux City, Iowa, I was accidentally born alive. We can give God a round of applause, can't we? Some of you may have heard me talk about this before, but I think it bears repeating. Do you know what the abortion industry lovingly calls people like me? Ooh, accidents. Good guess, Dena. That's actually a little kinder than what they call us. We're called the dreaded complication of abortion. That somehow my life, my future generations to come are something to be dreaded, prevented, avoided. I can tell you that statistics are very hard to come by when it comes to abortion survivors. But at the Abortion Survivors Network, which is headquartered out of Missouri because we believe in miracles coming out of Missouri time and time again, we know, looking at the best statistics out of Canada, that when their failure rate of abortions, surgical abortions alone, are at about 0.21%. When you correlate that to the United States, that looks like 1,734 survivors of surgical abortions alone in the United States in the last reporting period. Where are they? We're hiding in plain sight around you, day after day. We live in a culture that is not supportive of people like me, of women like my biological mother whose abortions fail, or they stop them, or they reverse them. And for me, that is part of the work that I do, is I give a voice to other abortion survivors and women just like my biological mother who deserve to be heard in this conversation about abortion. Amen? So many people are impacted by abortion. And we know that abortion survivors are not something that just happened historically. Trust me, I get that little pat on the head from people from time to time. Oh, isn't she cute? This doesn't happen anymore. Well, I can tell you that it does. Abortion procedures fail. Women stop their abortions because of the pain or because of regret. And because of abortion pill reversal, we see babies surviving chemical abortions still today. So thousands of babies are alive, and they are abortion survivors. We are so grateful for each and every one of you as organizations on the sidewalk and your pregnancy centers like Thrive, who are making a difference in those lives of survivors and mothers. But I want to tell you, I know how often this is happening, and I want you to turn to a resource. If you didn't read the Washington Post recently, and I know some of you are raising an eyebrow at me, the Washington Post, why would I read it? I know, sometimes I'm surprised as well. They recently shared an article about a woman who made an adoption plan after she attempted abortions. The story was written in such a way that what they wanted to do was go against pro-life laws, right? Paint the picture of how hard it was for this woman to have an abortion in Texas and Oklahoma because of their laws. But what they did, right, because truth has this funny way of coming out. What they actually did was share truths and story after story in that article about how chemical abortions even fail, how women are shocked and feel so alone when it happens. They shared these important truths. Then they went on to talk about the beauty of adoption and the strength of this woman and how these families are now united because an abortion failed. It's hiding in plain sight, you guys. It's our job to take it and run with it. And I want you to do that after today. Take every story you hear, like Gabriel's, like Megan's, like mine, and run with it. When you feel like you don't have anything to say on the issue of abortion, or you've run out of how you think you want to talk about it, these steps are full of people with stories. And that's why God has given me this life. So use our stories to have these conversations. Because the threats don't end here. And I don't say that to be in a place without hope. I share that with you because I am a person of great hope. I see the difference we've made over the years, and I know the difference we're going to make together, even after today. We have the great opportunity to share with the rest of the nation and the world that we don't bend to the will of the abortion industry. Amen? And that ordinary people, by the grace of God, make an extraordinary difference every single day. I am so grateful to be an ordinary person fighting alongside this fight with each and every one of you. And I look forward to keeping Missouri abortion-free alongside you. God bless.
Thank you, Melissa. So, pretty soon we're going to be marching. Pretty soon, but we still have more. But there's more. You probably know that there is a youth rally this afternoon with breakout sessions, and we would just like to take a moment or two to ask some of the leaders of those breakout sessions to just come up and do a quick station break to let you know what's going to happen. Dena.
Okay. Hello, Missouri. My name is Dena. I've got a very important question for you. Do you want people like Melissa to be aborted? Do you want people like Gabriel to undergo painful late-term dismemberment abortions? Do you want an increase in sex trafficking and abortion tourism here in Missouri? My name is Dena Espenscheid. I go around the country teaching people how to win elections for a group called the Leadership Institute. I will be in Missouri teaching you how to win elections, and the first session is today in the rotunda after the march. But your first lesson starts now. Pull out your cell phone for me. Everyone pull out your cell phone, raise it up high. I know you've all got them. If you've got a cell phone, pull it out, raise it up. Now I want you to open up the messaging app that you've got. You ready? I'm going to do this with you. Pull out a messaging app and start a new message. Look around and find somebody in Missouri on your contact list who is not here. I'm going to type in Scott. Scott Baker. There he is. Perfect. Okay, now I want you to type in, hey, and then everyone shout the name of the person that you're texting right now. That was the worst shouting I have ever heard. Let's try that again. Type in, hey, name. Okay, that was slightly better. Go here to remove your name just in case it was put on the petition. Go here to remove your name just in case it was put on the petition. Now I'm going to type that in so that I know how long it takes. Hey, Scott, comma, go here to remove. If you're not doing this, you're not doing your part. And I will find you. And I will teach you how to do this, among other things. Just in case. And then do a colon, because I'm a Gen X and I like putting in grammar in my text messages. And you're going to do www.withdraw, WITHDRAW, signature, SIGNATURE.com. And then you're going to push send. When you push send, give me a woo! Good job, guys. I have one more thing to leave you with. Do you want abortion through birth? Do you want women to suffer in Missouri? Then vote no in Mo. Vote no in Mo. Vote no in Mo. Vote no in Mo.
All right, Levi Hart, you're up.
Hey guys, I'm Levi Hart from Thrive Express Women's Healthcare. Check out our tables back there. Go get a tour of our mobile medical center. At the youth rally, I'll be discussing, well, man, you know, my first time at the March for Life was several years ago. And I remember looking around me within 5 minutes, and I said to someone standing next to me, I said, man, this is what the church needs to be doing, getting outside the four walls. And it was within another 5 minutes I realized this is the church. And it was a beautiful moment for me. So it was William Wilberforce who ended slavery by his work in Parliament in Britain, which set the stage for the end of slavery in the U.S. years later. And that was because of his faith in Jesus, because he was a Parliament party boy prior to that. And then it was John Newton who encouraged William Wilberforce to go and do that, who was once a slave trader himself and later went on to write the hymn we all know, Amazing Grace. So I'm going to be sharing more about it's our faith in Jesus, and it's the church that is going to fix the abortion problem in our country, and share some personal story as well about the abortion of my own child 15 years ago, but how Jesus has come and redeemed that since. So we'll see you then.
And we'd like to call back to the podium, Greg Robertson. No. Yes, here he comes.
You missed me. I don't know.
Came from behind.
How's it going, you guys? I got called here because I'm a really loud mouth and a really big guy, and I know how to use my strength and enthusiasm to direct crowds to a purpose. We're all here for a purpose under God's name. Who came from Jeff City? Who's here from Jeff City? Make a little noise. It's time to start, getting a little bit enthusiastic about what we're doing here. Who came and commuted this morning from St. Louis, Missouri? Who came in from St. Louis? Make a little noise. Yeah. How about Kansas City? Woo! I love it. Who came with their school today? Who came with their school today? Sweet. Hey, look, we've got to learn to talk with the world, to engage with the world. It's important if we're going to come into March to make a statement. We've got something to celebrate today, and that's the fact that Roe is over, and that's a big celebration. That's something we can direct our praise and our thanks to God for. But the battle's not done. We got more work to do, don't we? Don't we? I want to teach you just some chants real quick. These are things. Who's my crowd leaders out here? Who's the one in your group who's the loudest? Who has the most enthusiasm? Go ahead. Just point to that person right now. Point to that person. Who's the loudest person in your group right now? All right, I'm generally the loudest person in my group and in my family. I've got all 5 of my kids here. They'll be the first ones to tell you that. Our family, we actually run a Catholic retreat out of St. Louis. So if you're looking for a family retreat, a Catholic family retreat, if that's something you're looking for, look me up, talk to Kathy. I don't have a website for you. But that's what we do. It's just a little apostolate so all the family can go together. But I'm the loudmouth in my family, so that's why they asked me here. So I'm going to be the leader right now, and you're going to be the follower, just so you can learn some of these, okay? All right, cool. Can you do that? Will you chant with me? I'm going to give you a couple chants real quick. You ready? Where's my loudmouth? So are you ready? Yeah. All right. I'll say, Heidi, 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 ho. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Awesome. I love it, the enthusiasm. How about over here on the side? I know I had some cheerleaders from a school over here on the side. We probably need to draw them in a little bit too. All right, here we go. So while you're marching, these are things you can just shout out to everybody else. We need to make sure that they know what we're doing, why we're there, that we're there in love, what we're enthusiastic about. Heidi, 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 ho. I know we can do better, a little bit louder. Give me from the gut. Heidi, 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 ho. Roe v. Wade had to go. Doesn't that feel good, just to say that? Oh, yes, it did. But we've still got more work to do. You know what? It's really important as we march that the people in this city, on the camera, that they see that we march with love, that we're not here just for a cause. We're here under obedience to God, and we love. We just love Him. That's what we're filled with. It's important. When we're being enthusiastic, we're not being screaming crazy fools. We're here under the Lord. We're here under the Lord. All right, next chant. There's one for you. So you got the Heidi, Heidi. You ready? All right, so you guys heard about decline to sign, and it's really important that we tell the truth. So if you know people who don't know about decline to sign, how there's foreign money coming into our state to try to trick people, stealing the language right out of Satan, right out of hell, they're trying to change words to get us to sign and to trick, then you need to tell people about decline to sign. Like, what's going on? Where's this money coming from? What's happening? Okay, so I say, I love Reagan, she said, heck no, in Mo. Try that out. Ready? Heck no, in Mo. Heck no, in Mo. Heck no, in Mo. So we want the truth. We want the truth. We don't want that deceptive language in our state. We want the truth. All right, so there's one more chant for you while you're in the street. Heck no, in Mo. All right, last one. I say, I am. You say pro-life. Ready? I am. We are. Your mom is. God is. Politicians should be. All right, there's another one for you. Steal one of those. Let's hit the street with love. Let's protect moms. Let's protect babies. I say, protect with love. Protect with love. Protect with law. Protect with law. Protect with love. Protect with law. Protect with love. Protect with law. Let's get loud. Let's get crazy. Let's have fun. But let's keep our Lord in mind and while we're here. Let's make this march a prayer. Let's make it an enthusiastic, from the bottom of our soul, give it everything you got, prayer for the innocent. Let's do it.
Hey, thanks for your work today, brother. Oh, you're welcome. Appreciate you. All right, we're not quite ready to march yet. We still have more speakers. Coming to the podium now is the Executive Director of the Missouri Baptist Convention. Please welcome Dr. Les Fowler.
Well, good morning. My name is Wes Fowler, and I have the privilege of serving Missouri Baptist. We have 1,718 churches in Missouri, and that represents about 366,000 Missouri Baptists. So thank you for letting me serve on behalf of Missouri. And if you do not know, Missouri Baptists are staunchly and unapologetically pro-life. Very important. Although we are pro-life, I think there are some things in life that it's okay to be pro-choice on. Let me tell you a few of those. I think when it comes to supper, for example, it is completely fine for you to be pro-choice. If you would like steak or chicken or fish, I really don't care. You can be pro-choice when it comes to what you're going to eat. When it comes to your vacation, if you would like to be pro-choice, that is perfectly fine. My wife likes going to the beach. I like going to the mountains. We've been married almost 20 years. Been to the mountains once. Been to the beach 19 times. Okay? I think it's fine to be pro-choice there. Where you live, I really don't care. I'm pro-choice. Where you can live in a small house, a medium-sized house, or a large house, and I do not care. What you drive doesn't bother me at all. A car, an SUV, a truck, I am completely pro-choice. But when it comes to human life, there is no choice for those who follow Jesus. Nobody clapped for that. When it comes to human life, there's really no choice for those of us who follow the Lord. Let me give you just a few reasons for this. I believe that abortion is, in many ways, the anti-gospel. And let me just share that. The gospel emphasizes the worth of every human life, and abortion devalues life. As humans, we're made in the image of God, which means we are worthy. The gospel offers forgiveness and salvation to every single human being, whether you are weak or strong, whether you're young or old, whether you're rich or poor. Every life is worthy because every life is made in the image of God. The gospel, yep. Number two, the gospel saves those who are guilty. Abortion kills those who are innocent. In Luke chapter 15, the prodigal son was guilty, yet the father forgave him. In John chapter 8, the woman caught in adultery was guilty, yet Jesus defended her. In Luke chapter 23, people were crucifying the Lord on the cross, and he's praying for their forgiveness. In fact, Jesus actually forgives one of the criminals who was guilty right next to him. In Romans chapter 5, it says this: God shows his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Understand this, the gospel saves those who are guilty, but abortion kills those who are innocent. Number three, the gospel is focused on life, and abortion is focused completely on death. The gospel and abortion are really on opposite ends of the spectrum. The gospel values life, produces life, restores life. And abortion devalues life, destroys life, and absolutely promotes death. Abortion is the anti-gospel. And the last thing I'll tell you, I know you're ready to march, is the gospel is focused on grace, and abortion is not. With abortion, there's typically no second chance for the one being aborted. With the gospel, there is forgiveness not 7 times, but 77 times. We need to hear this today. There is plenty of grace for those at Planned Parenthood if they will repent and turn to the Lord. I preached on abortion one time without including grace for those who've been a part of abortion, and I'll never do that again. So likewise, there's plenty of grace for those who've made the mistake of abortion in the past. Matthew chapter 5 says, in many ways, we're all murderers and we all are deserving of judgment, but the Lord offers us grace. Let me end with this sentence. Through Jesus, there is grace, there is mercy, there is forgiveness, there's a second chance. In Jesus, there is life. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fowler. Okay, you ready to march? Not yet. We have two more things that we have to accomplish. Well, there's two more things, and then I have to tell you the rules for how we're going to march. But first, let's do the things that are more important and fun. Kathy, Kathy is going to present the award for this year's Pro-Life School. This year's Pro-Life School.
Welcome, everyone. Immaculate Conception, would you please come up here to receive your award? Immaculate Conception, Jefferson City. And now, you know we're all going to march, but I know there are a lot of you that aren't going to march because you want to stay here, right? Well, Vic Rackers is going to take a group. Vic, you need to get up here right now. Vic Rackers wants you to go with him to the Senate because they are not passing the IP bill. They need to see Missouri citizens. We need to go in there. So those of you who are not going to march, you need to go with Vic. Vic, where are you? He's right there. Okay, Vic. I can't see him for all these wonderful students. IC is receiving the Pro-Life Student of the Year award because they have an active Life Runners chapter that meets to pray and walk the first Wednesday of every month. They participate in a leg of the Life Runners Across America relay each fall, and they take part in the Midwest March for Life and also sponsor a bus to the National March for Life in Washington, D.C. for the 8th graders and others. They sponsor a food drive and a coat drive for the Samaritan Center. They make cards of support for those who participate in the Residents Encounter Christ retreats several times a year. They participate in the Knights of Columbus Pro-Life Baby Bottle Drive. They contribute items to the Pro-Life Committee's annual project for babies and the elderly each year, and students chalked messages of thanks to their moms for the gift of life around the parish property for Mother's Day. So we are going to present this award, and I know you join me in congratulating our 2024 Pro-Life School of the Year. Yay, IC! Here it is. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And so they are going to be leading the parade, so they need to go down to where the Knights of Columbus are. And also, I'm looking for the Helias Drum Corps. I think they may be down there. I'm not sure, but we hope they are. Okay. So we're going that way. Yes, go that way. And Mark, you have some other instructions, right? guys. So nice to see you. This year, we are also presenting an award. This is a big one. It's the Life Award. And this year it's presented to Brian and Marisa Westbrook. And Brian, if you are here, would you please come forward to accept your award with your two beautiful children? And let's say happy birthday, Isabella. Today's her birthday, Isabella Westbrook. Congratulations, Brian. Oh, and there they are.
The year was 2004. The most important decision I made in my entire life was 2004. The day was May 5th, so about 20 years ago. There were months of planning for this. There was a scavenger hunt. There were flowers. There were family. There were friends. There were photos. When I dropped to my knee and asked my beautiful bride to marry me. Right? Praise be to God. And her answer 20 years ago was, sure. She was trying to be funny. I'm like, this is really important here. This is not a funny moment. And so 20 years later, we still have the same dry humor. This beautiful bride of mine has encouraged me through the entire years since that day. She has encouraged me when my faith was down. She has given me 9 children, 7 of which are living, and 2 in heaven. Yeah, praise be to God for that. She also taught me what it meant to be pro-life. And I know each and every single one of you out there has someone that you can influence, who you can help them in their faith. And you can help them to understand what it means to be pro-life. And maybe, just maybe, you might give them children like my wife. Who knows? But I stand here today to accept this, I suppose, award on behalf of my wife and all of our team members at Coalition Life. It's not, yeah, right? You know, it's not really even about me. It's not even about any of these people up here on stage. Frankly, it's not even about any of us here. It's about those little children who are lost every single day throughout our nation. And together we will stand for life. So on behalf of my children, my wife, and our entire team at Coalition Life, thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you for making this possible, and thank you for standing for life. God bless you.
Well done, Brian. Thanks. Okay, now are you ready to march? All right. It's almost time. Time for the rules. Very important that we do this in an orderly way. So, please listen carefully, because we want to make an impression on our city, on our legislators, and that impression is going to be in the order and the manner in which we march. So, the order of the march will be, first, the cross. The cross has led the march every year since its inception in 2010. And if you're a clergy member or pastor and you would like to participate in carrying the cross, please go under the balloon area in front of the Knight's food station and find the cross. Second, if you're a Knight and you wish to follow the cross. Follow the priests and pastors. Third, the Helias Marching Drum Corps. Hopefully they are down by the Knights of Columbus. Fourth in the order of march, the Pro-Life School of the Year, Immaculate Conception. They've already made their way down there. Great job. Fifth, and this is the most important announcement, everybody else. So, order and peace in the way we march. There will be a police guard along the way to try to make sure the traffic flows. If streets need to be shut down, they will be shut down. When you come back, make sure you stop by the Knights of Columbus area and get yourself a hot dog. I'm telling you, you will not be sorry. And the youth rally begins at 12:15. Holy Mass is at 1:30. And to get out the vote class in the rotunda. So, remember one thing, you cannot bring food into the Capitol building. So, enjoy lunch first. And finally, Bishop Bryce has asked me to ask all of the members of the Diocese of Springfield, Cape Girardeau, if they could line up here on the steps. He would like to take a quick picture with you, but we must do that orderly and quickly. In the meanwhile, everybody else, head to the march, and thanks for being here today.